Greetings out there in YouTube land. This is Morris, man. And as always, I thank you guys for coming to my channel. I'm going to do a pretty interesting video today because from time to time, I check in with, my musicians or bandmates and fellow musicians, and we talk about things. And this video spun from a question I got from somebody maybe about a year ago, because they recognized me from back in the 80s when I was with these couple of bands that just kind of ruled Chicagoland back in the day. We were hot. And the guy asked me, he said, let me ask you a question since you're a musician. Why do musicians become drug addicts? And that's a pretty good question because quite a few do become drug addicts, or use drugs. And some people just don't understand, which is a good inquiry, being inquisitive like that. And I can come up with two reasons why most musicians become drug users or just straight out drug addicts. And the first one is really sad. The second one is sad too, but it's a little different from the first one. The first is just plain old stupid. And what I mean by that is you're a grown-ass man and you let another grown-ass man convince you to put poison in your system. We're not talking high school pressure, because I told you one of my closest friends back in grammar school was trying to force me to take marijuana. Like, I want that shit, man. I like pink lungs, okay? I'm not putting anything in here that shouldn't be in here, So that's kind of understandable because you're in an impressionable age. You're 20, 25 years old, and another grown-ass man forcing you to take some shit that's going to mess your system up. You're an idiot. And I'll say that because there's some people that they're not going to like some of the videos I post, but I'm giving you guys the real and telling you the truth. And the purpose of these videos to not allow you to become one of those idiots that are doing this for these other idiots. But it's plain old peer pressure, whether you're in grammar school, high school, or grown-ass man, and you let, again, another grown-ass man influence you to do something that's detrimental to your health. The stories that I could tell you about coming to the studio to perform, to do my job, and cocaine line up all up along the mixer, and guys are just going at it. And if you want some of this? No, I don't. I'm not here for that. Goodbye, Daddy. My cat wants to leave. It's just amazing because I'm like, I'm glad I'm not that stupid. I'm glad I've never been that stupid at no point in my life that I'm going to let another man give me something that's poison to this. Okay? That's poison to this. And you okay with it? Okay, I'll try it. And 2-3 years later, now you become a customer all the time. You snorting, you using this. Like, how stupid is that? And I'll say that because I'll say this to discourage people from starting this, or probably discourage them, or hopefully discourage them from stop from doing this. Anybody that puts stuff up their nose, stuff up the veins and drinking are idiots. Okay? They are idiots. All of them, And I say that out of love because, again, you don't want to put anything that's poison to this. You don't, As far as the food, I mentioned this before, you try your best to eat healthy, but you don't know what they put in your food. They sometimes they get around putting all ingredients that they put in this product. And some of the ingredients that they're hiding, is the reason why they're hiding it, is not good for your health. McDonald's put sugar on their fries. And you say, why would they do that? I don't taste the sugar. It's not that much. And the reason why cocaine, somebody once said, what's the difference between sugar and cocaine? The only difference is one is illegal, one ain't. That's it. They both highly addictive. They both extremely bad for your health. I'm sitting here a diabetic now thanks to all the sugar I ate throughout the years and all the sugar that I ate, not knowing that I was eating the sugar, But I got a handle on that because I've took an all natural approach. No metformin, no insulin. Because I'm going to say this and then I'm going to get off this. When you start taking insulin, because the body produces insulin itself. But when you start taking insulin, when it's not producing as much, or they just want to sell you insulin, because the insulin is extremely expensive. You can pay like $600 a month for your insulin, But this is the thing. When you start taking insulin, your body does this. It's coming in from another source. So Let's shut down production. And that's what the body does. It stopped making it. So now you technically a type 1 diabetic because your body no longer produces insulin. And now you rely on the outside insulin to keep you alive. So there's just a lot of things that we don't know and they don't want us to know. And it's all about greed instead of let's help my fellow human with something that's going to help him instead of I'm just trying to make money. Whether you die or not, I'm gonna make my money. And that's so unfortunate. And I didn't believe that until I got sick with all those antibiotics and I did extensive research because I almost died twice. And as a result of that, it motivated me to find the truth. What's going on here? And the truth that I found was just sad that, how we live in a world, not just the country, in a world that it's about money first. If it means that you got to die for them to make their money, they're going to step over your dead body. Get out of here. But anyway, getting back to the reasons why musicians do that. Again, that peer pressure thing. I'm like, that should have went away once you hit 18, 19 years old and became a man. It's like, I'm a man and ain't no other man going to tell me what to do and put poison in my system. When you're 13, you want to be in with the in crowd and popular. So you don't know any better. But when you become a grown man and you still letting people influence you that don't have your best interests at heart, it's time to wake up before you can't wake up. Number 2, and this is one I think most people don't realize that are not in the business. I am in the business, so I do understand from the inside. It's kind of simple when you think about it. And I'll use this as an example. I first started working at Joe Food Store. I was a bagger. I think I was 17 years old. And that's not a real stressful job, You don't get paid that much, and it's not that stressful. You just bag groceries. Well, you stock the shelves and straighten out the product. That's it. That's not a lot of responsibility, so therefore you don't make a lot of money. But when you become the manager and you're responsible for not only your actions but everybody else, and they're extremely, the bosses above you are extremely meticulous about getting things done in a timely manner and getting them right. And when it's not right, they let you know. So you got a lot of pressure on you to keep things running smoothly. And that's not an easy job, So think about that's the average guy. Think about the entertainer. And you take that same stress factor and multiply it by 50. That's one reason why, because there's a lot of pressure. Because a lot of people think that are not in the business, I'm going to become a musician, become famous, and become rich. And you could, it's a possibility, but with richness comes extremely amount of pressure to continue. I use Michael Jackson as a perfect example. Michael Jackson, before he died, was a multimillionaire. He made his millions, but he wants to continue to make his millions. And Michael Jackson started taking propofol. I think I pronounced it right. It is a drug that's used in a hospital setting. It's not something that you can go to your pharmacist and get, go to CVS and get a packet of and go home. They use it primarily in surgery to knock you out, or one of the things to knock you out. And Michael Jackson was using that shit at home because he couldn't sleep. And you say, why can't he sleep? Because he's doing 50,000 things at once. That last tour, I think it's supposed to be maybe 10 or 20. And then somebody end up giving him an additional like 30, 40, 50, 60 concerts. That's a lot of work. And you're only human. You can only do so much as one human being. But you think about it, Michael Jackson had on payroll hundreds of people. So it's not like it's just about him. You just the only one and you decide not to go to work today. So you might miss maybe 40, 50, 60, 80 bucks that day. You can live with that. But when you got 400 people that got to eat and then their kids got to eat, and all that stuff, that's a lot of pressure. And they would use you until they can't use you no more. Or should I say they will run you thin or dry. They will spread you as far as they can spread you and beyond that. And that's the reason why Michael Jackson is not here today. He got pushed. It was a combination of greed on his part and the people that that works for him or he works for them or whatever, at some point in time, you just got to say, I got to take it easy. Dave Chappelle was offered all that money. He was making good money before they offered him all that money. It was too much for him. He even said that on Oprah Winfrey. He said, I'm up out of here. I'm going to Africa. Because, again, the average person that is not a part of this industry have no idea how much pressure is put on people. They stand up for days at a time. If they don't do this, since they've already signed a contract to do it because they were greedy, if they don't, they get sued, And that's the second reason why a lot of those people start using drugs, to kind of calm them down and take them out of the reality that they're in. But you cannot let the industry dictate your momentum, meaning that you know your limits. Okay, I can do 10 concerts. I can't do 50. I can't do 50. I'm not doing 50. Instead of them talk you into it, or you like, I do have the need to buy another mansion on the other end of the country, and I do need 2 more cars, even though I got 4 already in the driveway, Don't push yourself to that point. There's nothing wrong with healthy motivation and you driving and pushing yourself to excel, but not an unrealistic expectation. I'm going to do 100 concerts in 30 days or whatever. I'm flying all over the country. I'm in cities all over the world. I don't know what time it is. I don't know what city I'm in. That's what propel a lot of those people into drug use, And it's sad because you can't take it with you. They said that Howard Hughes, hours before he was dying, he knew he was dying. He's still trying to make money. Why? You can't take it with you. And you got more than enough to leave your family members and friends, But we live in a society, and not just this country, the whole world. We greedy. We made $1 million. I want 2 million. We made 2. I want 20. I want $1 billion. I want to be a billionaire. I'm sure that's nice, but the amount of work and pressure that is thrusted upon you to achieve that, it's not worth your life. Prince, as hard as he worked, and I think him and Michael Jackson died around age 50. It's like these guys should have been around here for at least 80 years, especially since they were wealthy. They had the best of health care. If there's something wrong, they can head it off. It's still of the average guy. He has a surgery and he has to file bankruptcy after that. My hospital stay, well, I'm just going to say this because I'm not going to get into that. 2 years ago when I went, and I was in there for like a couple of days, I think my bill was like $9,000. When I went about a month ago, I got my bill, $25,000. Now, thank God I got insurance, and I only have to pay a small amount there because my copay is like $2,000 for that. But I'm like, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And most of us, the average people, we don't have access to the best health care throughout our lives. Like Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey has a live-in dietitian, meaning that there's a person that cooks all her meals, all her healthy meals. Instead I'm on the run, I'm going to grab a burger, It must be nice, And when you got that kind of privilege, you should let it be about 70, 80, 90 years old. But you got Michael Jackson. I think he died at 50, a little bit, 51 or 2. Prince died at 50, 51 or 2. And they didn't have a long history of health issues. What killed them was their occupation, just pushing themselves. All those years of Prince hopping around on high heels, jumping off guitar amps, 10 feet jumps off the air, off the floor onto ground or concrete with high heels, to the point where he had to have hip replacement surgery. I'm not quite sure if he had it or he needed it, but it's like, you got to take it easy. I know they're pushing you, but don't let them push you into a grave. And should I mention this in this video? Well, I'm going to mention this because I was thinking about how I was going to tie this in, and I forgot how I tied this in, but I'm like, I'll probably never be able to share this story again. So I thought I'll share this. And I think the tie-in is drugs. Yeah, that's what it was, you know. And some people use it to escape. But you got to try to find other ways to escape, healthy ways. You know, you live in a shitty life and you just don't want to continue this, so you try to escape through taking drugs. And if I had time, meaning if I was maybe 20 years younger, if I had extra capital, I would love to do a story on my life and my family life, because we went through a lot of stuff. And I'm sure the average person have been through a lot of stuff. And I've seen people get killed, you know. And I think the first time, and I'm going to share this as a personal story, the first time I seen somebody actually get killed and being there when they got killed, I couldn't have been no more than about 16 years old. And there was some guys that lived on my block and the next block. Now, of course, since they lived on my block, I interacted with them, but I was not running with them. My crew was like 3 blocks down the street, because I'm like, these guys on my block, and not all of them, and not most of them, just a few of them, they got some serious problems that could lead to somebody getting killed. So I don't want to be nowhere around these dudes. And there was this guy that lived 2 blocks away. He's about 16 at the time, too. And he was one of those easily impressionable dudes. And, you know, like I told you earlier about how people are trying to persuade you into doing drugs and destroying your body and all that kind of nonsense. And you're not strong enough to say, hey, no, thank you, and walk away. You know, you want to be a part of this clique so bad that you're going to do whatever they do to be cool, you know. So, unfortunately, he was one of those guys that want to run with this crowd, and he wanted to be cool like them. And I never forget it, the night before, and I was at that party. It was a little house party, you know, in the neighborhood. And they came down there, and you know how house parties are back in the day, the guys that are my age. I'm sure partying is a little different now. It's pretty dark in that basement. That basement ain't that big, and it's a whole bunch of people. And you just kind of squeezing through. You can't even stretch out or nothing. You like this, excuse me. And the guy was in the party with the guys. And it was this girl there. Matter of fact, she lived a block away from me. Went to school with her sister. I think I went to school with her too, because I think they was the same age, or just a 1 year difference. But anyway, it's a crowded party. You can't avoid brushing up against somebody or stepping on somebody's shoe. And you guys my age know that shoe thing, that nonsense gets you killed. You stepped on my shoe. What about it? You know, and that can spawn a fight. You know, so she accidentally stepped on his shoe. It was no big deal to him, but his friends, so-called friends, my neighbors, oh, don't let that bitch step on your shoe and disrespect you. Go over there and represent. He was forced to go over there and get into a verbal confrontation with this girl over stepping on her shoe. So, you know, the argument died down and the party continued. That should have been the end of it. But it wasn't. The next day, I was delivering papers on that block. I was throwing papers on the other side with my bicycle. And I seen them come up on her porch. And what happened was, those guys convinced him to go over there and continue this ridiculous argument about somebody stepping on somebody's shoe the night before in the dark, crowded basement. They forced him up to go up there, and she was afraid. She went and got her father's gun, and she opened up the door and started shooting, and she hit him in the head. His so-called friends ran like little bitches. I seen it. I jumped off my bike. I had a little bit of first aid experience. As I was running across the street, I took my shirt off because I'm trying to stop the bleeding, trying to talk to him, calm him down, because, of course, you're quite excited or scared when you get shot and the adrenaline's pumping and the blood is going and all that blood coming out, you know, and he died. He died right there, you know. And to this day, I'll never forgive those guys for that nonsense, because he would be still walking around now, perhaps got married, had kids and grandkids and so on and so forth. But as a result of their stupidity, And he was very meek and docile and let them talk him into his death sentence, his execution. And she did not go to jail because it was self-defense. She's sitting there because it was just her and her sister in the house and these dudes on her porch. And she was afraid. And she was just trying to get them up out of it, off her porch and get out of there. So she didn't have any charges pressed against her. Now, her father, I think, had a charge of illegal firearm in the house because I don't think the gun was registered. But that's just one of a few stories that I could share about witnessing someone losing their life right there on the spot. And it was over some nonsense. It was just really over some nonsense. And it's like, it's so sad that we got people that persuade other people to do stuff that's going to cost them their life. I've been in a lot of situations where people wanted me to do things or no thanks to. Why, are you scared? I'm not scared. I'm not stupid. That's what it is. It's not that I'm scared. I'm not stupid. It's just that simple. I'm not stupid. This is not going to be good for me. Nothing is good coming out of this. So you can continue and label me square, and I'll wear that proudly, and I'll live to wear that proudly. That's the bottom line, living to wear that proudly. Still, I'm dead, but I'm cool. I died because I was cool. I'm a drug addict because I'm cool. And I'm going to leave you with that statement. Till next time, take care and thanks for watching.